Madam Deputy President, extremism does not serve Australians. Passionate liberalism is the only way to maintain a stable and secure country that encourages individual liberty and tolerance. Liberalism thrives on hope and aspiration and withers under fear and division. The current moment feels embroiled in fear. Shared realities are breaking down and fringe views on the bell curve are finding a critical mass online. ASIO's Director General Mike Burgess has said that espionage and foreign interference are no longer our principal security concerns. More Australians, he says, are embracing a more diverse range of extreme ideologies, and more Australians are willing to use violence to advance their cause. Extremist ideologies, Islamic jihadism, neo-Nazism, something like anarcho-Marxism, sovereign citizen movements, alt-right neocons, all tapping into the individual kernel of truth that we all feel, to a certain degree, fear. The ultimate human fear that we will not be safe in the world unless we defend ourselves. Recently, many of these extremist ideologies have found a grim similarity in demonising the Jew, because the despicable age-old tropes about Jews represent power. This extremism is different to mere passion. Extremism is really rarely contained within a personal adherence. If truly felt and believed, extremist beliefs lead to evangelisation at best and violence towards non-adherence at worst. Just like communism, extremism quickly slides down the slippery slope to authoritarianism. These ideologies seek to be represented in established institutions. A journalist recently revealed that a Sydney cleric, Dr. Ali Al-Samail, preached to bring down federal Labor and throw open the gates for Hamas and Hezbollah to potentially recruit, train and bankroll their operations from our suburbs, yet has been parachuted onto the New South Wales Faith Affairs Council in December after a personal intervention by the Multiculturalism Minister. This should deeply concern all people committed to a peaceful and cohesive society. What is the Labor government's response to these shocking revelations? From another angle, people like self-described racist and neo-Nazi Jack Eltis are exploiting people's fears about a loss of culture, safety and poverty to call for an end to immigration and create a white Australia. Australian neo-Nazi groups have demonstrated violence and they seek oppression. Flourishing extremism in a liberal society can demonstrate how a flaccid interpretation of liberal ideology can become its own worst enemy. Neo-Nazis speaking at rallies and people flying the flags of terror organisations, both ideologies represented marching through Sydney this year and enabled by lawful protests. Tolerance is ripe for exploitation by the intolerant. As the likely apocryphal G.K. Chesterton quote goes, it pays to keep an open mind, but not so open that your brains fall out. There is a path to walk, and I don't think it's a tightrope. There is room for our communities to walk together. But between being so open-minded that we lose our guardrails for the ethically acceptable and morally desirable, and pointlessly decrying cultural differences that actually have no bearing on another person's life, which incidentally includes versions of identity politics on the left and the right. So far, the unique success of Australian liberalism through the 1900s and early 2000s has provided a largely effective bulwark against local violence and sectarianism. It is notable given that we are something like the most multicultural country in the world, with 1/3 of our population born overseas. People arrive here to flourish. It is the best place to live in the world for a reason. Edmund Fawcett suggests that liberalism embodies 4 core ideas that distinguish it from other ideologies. They are tolerance for philosophical conflict, resistance to power, progress, and respect. He represents this through a loose definition, that liberalism is a search for an ethically acceptable order of human progress among civil equals without resource to undue power. It is important to point out that liberalism, therefore, necessarily takes on the flavour of what is ethically acceptable in the society in which it flourishes. Australian liberalism has its own unique flavour, something like eucalyptus liberalism, our country's canopy. It captures our 3 stages of cultural growth: Indigenous, colonial and migrant. To protect this liberalism, it is incumbent upon us to call out bad ideas. We must call out actions that are antithetical to core liberal ideas to protect our guardrails. Noted Australian historian David Kemp wrote in A Liberal State that in the 1920s, as liberalism in Europe quailed before the burdens of history, Australians had an opportunity afforded to few other people to attempt to build a society around principles of equal human dignity. We still have that rare opportunity today. Our Australian spirit of liberalism is well captured in point 10 of Robert Menzies' We Believe Liberal Party statement. It says, "We believe that liberalism means flexibility and progress. Its principles and its spiritual and intellectual approach enable it to meet and deal with new changing social and economic circumstances. By elevating the individual, it meets and defeats the terrible doctrine of the all-powerful state, and I would add the terrible doctrines of extremist groups seeking power. Crucially, we still have a critical mass of Australian people interested in building the economic independence of their families, who want to contribute to their communities and who understand that paying tax is a form of quiet patriotism. People who are committed to liberal values, even if they simply live them and don't need a label. We must lionise these people. In the name of Australia's eucalyptus liberalism, we all have a responsibility to champion their cause."